I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including 2 women wanted on forgery charges, cleanup from storm damage, and much more. Frank Nuno has a look at your forecast and a Nutmeg Sports update, and Donald Eng joins us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, hundreds in the region are still in the dark after heavy rains and high winds Sunday and early this morning. Now, many crews are working to clear roads of downed trees and wires. The storms have impacted some local schools as well. Ridgefield, Westport, and Wilton public schools are closed today. Now, initially, Ridgefield, Westport, and Wilton announced delays, but too many impassable roads led to the decision to close entirely. Now, New Canaan Public Schools had a 2-hour delay this morning, and Trumbull Public Schools had a 90-minute delay. Now, officials in towns where damage is especially bad are asking drivers to stay indoors to allow highway crews the time to clear debris, remove fallen branches, and restore downed power lines. You can follow your HAN network local news site for the latest on local power outages and closed roads. In other news, state police are looking for 2 female suspects they say cashed 2 forged personal checks in Oxford back on October 4th. Now, the women were in a dark-colored Chrysler sedan reported stolen, and they cashed checks totaling over $3,900 at the Ion Bank in Oxford. Now, the personal checks were drawn from other banks, but were made out to an Ion Bank customer. The female suspect in the passenger seat presented the Ion customer's stolen Connecticut driver's license in order to cash those checks. Now, prior to the Oxford transaction, the same 2 female suspects attempted to cash the checks at the Ion Bank in Ansonia, but the teller refused. Following the Oxford transaction, the same 2 suspects attempted to cash more forged checks at the Ion Bank in Naugatuck. However, the teller stalled the transaction and contacted the police department. But before officers arrived on the scene, the female suspects fled. Now, the Ion customer's pocketbook had originally been stolen out of her car in Naugatuck on October 2nd. The license plate attached to the suspect's vehicle was reported stolen out of Danbury. Anyone who thinks they may have any information or thinks they may know the identity of either suspect is asked to contact police at 203-888-4353. And Fairfield police are investigating a dog attack last week that sent a 10-year-old child to the hospital with serious injuries. Hearst, Connecticut media reports that according to Fairfield police on October 22nd, a neighbor called to report that a 10-year-old boy was bitten by a dog in the area of 800 Stratfield Road. Now, preliminary investigation revealed that the boy and his 15-year-old brother had entered the locked gate of the dog owner's rear yard in an attempt to sell magazines for school. Well, after they did so, the dog reportedly attacked the younger child, resulting in serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The boy was transported to Bridgeport Hospital with his mother by ambulance. Police said the dog was identified as Brody, a Great Dane who was licensed and vaccinated. Now, the owner was on the scene and assisted with the dog. Fairfield's animal control officers reported that they have made several follow-up inquiries with the parents and the victim and the dog owner to identify the cause of the attack and the extent of injuries. That case is under investigation by the Fairfield Police Department's Animal Control Office. And despite never having appeared before Shelton's Planning and Zoning Commission, a burlesque-themed cafe announced its plans to open for business near a residential neighborhood in Shelton via Facebook earlier this week, and some residents were upset and concerned to hear the business's plans, likening it to a strip club. Now, the P&Z will discuss the business at its Tuesday, November 14th meeting in City Hall. According to city zoning official Thomas Dingle, the business will not open until it has been approved by Planning and Zoning. The Hush Shelton Facebook page has since been deleted, but its page operator posted a message in response to criticism, saying in part, "We have combined the ideas of a 1920s speakeasy with a burlesque feel." They went on to say, "We welcome all to our establishment to experience this vintage experience right here in Shelton at Hush." Now, the post went on to say, "We have already established our cafe permit and have plans to have local DJs, karaoke, piano players, bands, burlesque entertainment, and comedians as part of our lineup." There's much more on that story at sheltonherald.com. And it took fire personnel nearly 40 minutes to extinguish a fire at the Maritime Motors Saturday morning in Fairfield. Hearst, Connecticut media reports that the fire department responded to the Chevrolet dealership located at 985 Post Road around 9:30 in the morning for reports of a roof being on fire. Now, the first fire unit to arrive reported seeing smoke and fire on the roof near the rear of the building. all available on-duty Fairfield Fire Department resources were required to control the fire, officials said. The department's Assistant Chief Skylar Sherwood arrived on the scene shortly after firefighters were dispatched and took command of the scene, requesting assistance from the Westport Fire Department to put out the flames. Now, that fire was under control by 10 a.m. and thankfully no injuries were reported. And in a new statewide public policy poll conducted this month by Sacred Heart University's Institute for Public Policy, close to 76% of respondents believe that President Donald Trump should stop posting on social media or commenting about NFL player protests. Now, while 6 out of 10 respondents believe the player protests are disrespectful, almost the same number agree that the NFL players have the right to protest. Now, the data came to light in response to one nationally focused question included on an otherwise Connecticut-specific poll examining budget concerns and quality of life issues in the state. Now, in response to 55 questions about the economy and life in Connecticut, residents expressed significant anxiety over the state budget woes and the prospect of deep cuts to essential services in lieu of alternative tax revenue sources such as tolls on Connecticut's highways and legalizing marijuana. Now, results from 1,000 residents polled across the state during the first 2 weeks in October show that 1 out of 3 residents believes the overall quality of life in Connecticut is declining, that the state should offer more incentives in the form of tax credits and rebates to retain and attract businesses, and that towns should merge and consolidate public service to help cut costs. In other significant findings, more than 3 out of 5 respondents are finding it very or somewhat difficult to maintain their standard of living. All right, well, switching gears now, we're going to throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And you mentioned how there's a lot of trees down in the area, some power lines as well. There is a high wind advisory in effect through this afternoon. We could be seeing gusts upwards of 45 to 50 miles per hour and a steady breeze around 30 to 35. So going to make driving very difficult, especially for high-profile vehicles, and we could see 1 or 2 more trees going down before the end of the day. Other than that, though, it looks like we're done with the showers, and clouds should start to give way to some sunshine later on in the day. Temperatures sitting in the high 50s for most of the day. Going to feel cooler, obviously, with the strong winds. Mostly clear overnight with a low of 44, and wind gusts starting to calm down a little bit, around 15 miles per hour before Tuesday morning. Mostly sunny out Tuesday, 10 to 15 miles per hour in that wind range, a high of 56. Getting very chilly tomorrow night. Clearer skies, but lows of 36 heading into Wednesday, and we'll see a lot of the same again. Some sunshine, maybe some late day cloud cover moving in. Overcast overnight, a low of 48 as it's a little more mild out, heading towards what will be a warmer back half of the week. That'll do it for this weather update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Eng joins us to take a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and there's more local news after this.
We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's has them all. From Blue Jay Orchard's local cider donuts to Vermont Farmstead cheddar and all of your favorite varieties of local apples and pears. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and find us at stewartsmarket.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? Skep Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, skepchryslerjeep.com or skepdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now during the Jeep Celebration event and Ram Power Days. Now through October 31st.
At Black Horse Garage, we fulfill all your sports car needs. We specialize in manufacturer-recommended service and aftermarket high-performance parts and installation. We have one of the nation's top storage facilities and offer a high-end collision department that understands your need for detail. Visit blackhorsegarage.com for more.
The Kitchen Center offers quality cabinetry and affordable pricing. Visit our showroom for a free consultation with our professional design staff. For all your other home improvement needs, visit Northeast Building Supply, our full-service lumberyard and window showroom. The Kitchen Center, a division of Northeast Building Supply, 1470 Barnum Avenue, Bridgeport.
Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today.
We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's...
Welcome back to this October 30th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Eng. Don.
Well, Kate, it's become one of the most overused terms of the early 21st century, but before that, it was an off-the-cuff remark by a Boston weatherman. First, though, we go to 1938. Orson Welles broadcast his radio play of H.G. Wells's War of the Worlds, causing anxiety in some parts of the country. Now, the show was part of a regularly scheduled and advertised dramatic radio series and was presented as a series of newscasts interrupting a classical music broadcast. So if you missed the opening and presumably every commercial break, you might have been confused. The mass hysteria attributed to the broadcast has been exaggerated in the 79 odd years since. Consider only about 2% of the population was actually even listening to the broadcast. 1942, Lieutenant Tony Fasson and sailors Colin Grazier and Tommy Brown from HMS Petard board the damaged German U-559 and retrieve material which would lead to the decryption of the German Enigma code. Now, the three swam to the sub, which had surfaced to give the crew a chance to abandon ship, and found the documents in the captain's cabin. Fasson and Grazier would drown when the sub suddenly sank. Brown somehow kept the papers dry as he swam back to Petard. All three were awarded the George Cross, although their actions were kept secret for the next 29 years. You didn't actually think Matthew McConaughey got the Enigma code, did you? 1974, the Rumble in the Jungle boxing match between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman takes place in Kanshana, Zaire. Ali famously employed the strategy he would later call rope-a-dope, covering up against the ropes, while Foreman exhausted himself throwing wild haymakers. Nowadays remembered as a triumph of an aging champion using guile to defeat a bigger, younger opponent. Ali was only 32 in 1974, and both he and Foreman were 6'3", the weight difference 4 pounds. Ali would hold the title until 1978. Finally, now we go to 1991.
Is it frozen?
No. Todd Gross describing the unnamed storm that we now call the perfect storm, sort of thanks to him. Now, before the term was used to describe everything from stock market crashes to racial tensions, the perfect storm was a storm that packed hurricane winds and 40 to 80-foot waves and caused flooding from Newfoundland all the way down to Jamaica. If you saw the movie, character actor Christopher McDonald portrayed Gross and coins the term, although the real-life Gross never used the expression. Gross described conditions to author Sebastian Junger as being perfect for a massive storm to develop. The storm is best known for causing the loss of the fishing boat Andrea Gale. That is your look back in history for today, October 30th, and I'm Donald Eng.
Thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, Stratford police have arrested an Ansonia man they say was illegally towing cars in town. Now, on Friday, 27-year-old Stephen Verity was arrested and charged with multiple larcenies. Investigation determined that between the date of October 1st and October 9th, Verity, who's the owner and operator of Steve's Automotive located in Milford, towed at least 10 cars from the parking lots of the Dock Shopping Center and Sherwood Apartments. Now, Verity took it upon himself to find violations in the parking lot and towed the vehicles without the consent of the property owners as required by state law. Now, detectives completed an arrest warrant based on the investigation. Verity was charged with 1 count of first-degree larceny, 4 counts of second-degree larceny, and 5 counts of third-degree larceny. He's due in court on November 3rd, and police say if anyone had their vehicle towed by Verity and has not spoken to police as of yet, they're asked to contact detectives at 203-385-4128. And school spending might be frozen in Ridgefield, but that doesn't mean that students are suffering in the cafeteria. Now, delinquent meal accounts can wind up costing the district as much as $25,000 per year. Superintendent Karen Baldwin revealed that to the Board of Education before it approved a new policy for students whose meal accounts run flat at its meeting on last Monday night. Now, the board is making it easier for students to eat lunch even if they don't have the funds. Officials say it's so to avoid the humiliation that comes with eating the district's alternative meal, which is a cheese sandwich and a piece of fruit. Now, the new policy allows students to continue to charge a meal when the account has a negative balance, rather than be served the alternative meal, according to Baldwin, noting that students would not be allowed to charge snacks or a la carte items. Baldwin said she favored the change and pointed out that it also directs families toward applications for the free or reduced price meals that are available from the town's Department of Social Services and on the school district's website. And almost 100 friends and family members gathered last Friday at the Stone Barn to celebrate Monroe 1st Selectman Steve Vavrick's retirement. Now, State Representative J.P. Shredzinski served as Masters of Ceremonies for the event, and numerous elected officials from around the state joined in celebrating Vavrick, including Newtown 1st Selectman Patricia Lodra, Oxford 1st Selectman George Temple, Seymour 1st Selectman Kurt Miller, Easton 1st Selectman Adam Dunsby, as well as Shelton Mayor Mark Loretti, State Rep Jason Perillo, and former Easton 1st Selectman Tom Herman. Now, everyone who spoke focused on Vavrick's dedication and love of Monroe, and you could read more at monroecourier.com. And the Kennedy Center's 53rd annual Four Seasons Ball Crystal Gala will be held on Saturday, November 4th from 7 p.m. to midnight at the Rolling Hills Country Club in Wilton. Now, this year's gala will honor the accomplishments of Martin Schwartz, the agency's first president and CEO, who is retiring after more than 39 years of service. Now, event proceeds benefit Kennedy Center's residential services for people with disabilities. Tickets for the Four Seasons Ball are $200 per person and may be ordered online at the Kennedy Centerinc.org. All right, let's throw it back to Frank Granito now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And let's start with our Week 6 winners for our Athlete of the Week in the fall season. Congratulations to Deontay Vines of the Danbury football team and Megan Ahern of the Trumbull girls soccer team, as they are your Week 6 winner. Ahern had 2 goals and an assist as the Eagles won 7-0 versus Bridgeport Central last Friday. Trumbull improved to 9-3-3 with the victory. Megan also would pick up 3 assists in the Eagles' 8-0 victory over Trinity Catholic then on Wednesday. Vines opened up the scoring with a 97-yard return of an interception for a touchdown when Danbury defeated Trumbull High 39-27 on Saturday. Vines also had a 55-yard touchdown run as the Hatters would post their first win of the season. So congratulations again to Deontay and Megan. Later on today in our pregame show before the boys soccer semifinals in the FCIAC, we'll have your Week 7 nominees. Speaking of tonight's coverage of boys soccer, let's quickly get you updated on everything as these school cancellations have moved around the postseason schedule. Boys soccer and field hockey are on as scheduled for today. 3 of the FCIAC volleyball quarterfinals games will be played today. Ridgefield and Staples has been postponed to tomorrow at Ridgefield High. The girls volleyball semifinals will now be played on Thursday. Girls soccer has been moved to Wednesday and their championship on Friday night. And that can bring us to our coverage of girls soccer last Friday. We were at Ridgefield High School to see the 2-time defending FCIAC champion Ridgefield Tigers hosting the Darien Blue Wave. And the Blue Wave gave the Tigers everything they could handle. In another defensive struggle like we've seen so much this year, this game came down to the final 10 minutes when Caitlin Slaminko scored off a beautiful Faith Arnold feed into the box in the 74th minute. That goal would prove to be the difference as the Tigers move on to the semifinals. Let's look at the highlights now.
We're going to have a corner kick here, but I mean, you're talking about the clearing efforts from the back line. It's just getting to midfield and then it's kicked around. No one really looked like they wanted to possess the ball in the first half.
Right. Well, Ridgefield at times looked like they wanted to try and develop something, and that's where that Blue Wave defense comes in. They're always on you. They're putting you under a ton of pressure.
Corner kick from Slaminko, heading towards that back post. A couple of bodies collided. Fiore hit the deck momentarily, but still playing on as the official shows no signs of blowing a whistle.
Oh, Claire Middlebrook had a great opportunity. She beat Fiore. Oh, what a great opportunity for the Ridgefield Tigers.
7 minutes remaining, and the Tigers showing signs of threatening here. Slaminko to the outside. Arnold on possession. Trying to slip around a defender. Sends one inside the box off a left foot. It's in! With 6:44 to play, Slaminko from Arnold. They've done it all year long, and they come up big again. Dribbling through traffic, the clock at 5. A ball sent towards the box one more time. Castle holds on, and the Tigers will too. 1-0. The final in this one as Ridgefield comes away with the quarterfinal win.
Ridgefield moving on will face Staples in the semifinals, and on the other side of the bracket it will be St. Joe's and Fairfield Ward. Tonight though, you'll see boys soccer semifinals on the HAN network. Our coverage starts at 4:45. Kickoff in the first game is set for 5 o'clock. It will be Trumbull and Danbury, number 5 and number 8 in game number 1, followed by Norwalk and Greenwich in the second game. Scheduled for 7 o'clock, but we'll say 30 minutes after the conclusion of our first semifinal. Again, we're on the air at 4:45. We look forward to seeing you then. For now, we go back over to Kate Czaplinski.
Recap some of the top stories we're following today after this.
Voted best gourmet to go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered. Breakfast,
throw it way to the box, off the crossbar, but an offside whistle will blow that play dead.
Now
Scary play there. Mendevar's got to come out.
Miller Nissan
Come out for
Fairfield.
that ball if you're a keeper. Attack it. Even if you have to punch it away. A little bit of a scary play.
Around again on the defensive side, and now Barrera back on possession.
Excuse me, Mr.
Got a
Miller.
lot of speed there on that.
What about my
outside
new
wing.
Sentra?
Right now, Lisa, 2017 Sentra Gas for only $97.
Loose ball in front of the cage, and they score.
He is never going to retire.
Hold on, Frank. He's offsides.
Bankwell combines the best personal
He's
service
offsides.
with high-tech banking features for our customers' convenience. We pride ourselves on being a strong,
Jason
convenient
Weinstein.
partner. You don't settle for average in anything else you do. Why settle for an average bank? Don't just bank when you can bank well instead. Visit mybankwell.com for more. Manfredi New Canaan is celebrating 3 exceptional years selling Rolex watches and fine jewelry to the Fairfield County community. We appreciate all our loyal clients and look forward to welcoming and helping you discover the perfect gift to celebrate life's most important occasions.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
Voted best gourmet.
Welcome back to this Monday edition of your coffee break on the HAN network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. Now, hundreds in the region are still in the dark after heavy rains and high winds Sunday and early this morning. Now, many crews are working to clear roads of downed trees and wires, and the storms have impacted local schools. Ridgefield, Westport, and Wilton schools are closed today. Now, initially they had just announced a delay, but too many impassable roads led to the decision for those districts to close entirely. Now, New Canaan Public Schools had a 2-hour delay this morning, and Trumbull Public Schools also had a 90-minute delay. Now, officials in towns where the damage is especially bad are asking drivers to stay indoors to allow highway crews to clear debris, remove fallen branches, and restore downed power lines. Now, you can follow your HAN Network local community news site for the latest on local power outages and closed roads. And state police are looking for 2 female suspects they say cashed forged personal checks in Oxford back on October 4th. The women were in a dark-colored Chrysler sedan and cashed checks totaling over $3,900 at the Ion Bank in Oxford. Now, the personal checks were drawn from other banks but were made out to an Ion Bank customer. The female suspect in the passenger seat presented the customer's stolen Connecticut driver's license in order to cash the checks. Prior to that transaction, the same 2 female suspects attempted to cash cash the checks at an Ion Bank in Ansonia, but the teller refused. Following the Oxford transaction, the same two suspects attempted to cash more forged checks at an Ion Bank in Naugatuck. However, the teller stalled the transaction and contacted local police. Before officers arrived on scene, the female suspects had fled. Well, the Ion customer's pocketbook had originally been stolen out of her vehicle in Naugatuck on October 2nd. The license plate attached to that suspected vehicle was reported stolen out of Danbury. Now, anyone who thinks they may have any information or know the identity of either suspect is asked to contact police at 203-888-4353. And Fairfield police are investigating a dog attack last week that sent a 10-year-old child to the hospital with serious injuries. Hearst, Connecticut media reports that according to the Fairfield Police Department on October 22nd, a neighbor called to report a 10-year-old boy was bitten by a dog in the area of 800 Stratfield Road. Now, investigation revealed that the boy and his 15-year-old brother entered the locked gate of the dog owner's rear yard in an attempt to sell magazines for school. After they did so, the dog reportedly attacked the younger child, resulting in serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The boy was transported to Bridgeport Hospital. Police said the dog was identified as Brody, a Great Dane who was licensed and vaccinated. The owner was on the scene and assisted with the dog. Fairfield's animal control officers reported that they have made several follow-up inquiries with the parents of the victim and the dog owner to identify the cause of the attack and the extent of the injuries. That case remains under investigation. And despite never having appeared before Shelton's Planning and Zoning Commission, a burlesque-themed cafe announced its plans to open for business near a residential neighborhood in Shelton via Facebook earlier this week. Now, some residents were upset and concerned to hear the business's plans, likening it to a strip club. Well, the Planning and Zoning will discuss that business at its November 14th meeting in City Hall. According to City Zoning official Thomas Dingle, the business will not open until it has been approved by the P&Z. Now, the Hush Shelton Facebook page has since been deleted, but its page operator posted a message in response to criticism, saying in part, "We have combined the ideas of a 1920s speakeasy with a burlesque feel." They said, "We welcome all to our establishment to experience a vintage experience in Shelton, Connecticut." Now, the post went on to say, "We've established our cafe permit and have plans to have DJs, karaoke, bands, burlesque entertainment, and comedians as part of their lineup." There's much more on that story at sheltonherald.com. All right, let's get one final look at the forecast with Frank.
Thank you again, Kate. And we are seeing skies start to clear up a little bit as cloud cover will dissipate throughout the afternoon and make way for some sunshine. Again, we have got a high wind advisory in effect through this early part of this afternoon, probably around 3-4 o'clock right now based on the National Weather Service. Could be seeing wind gusts up as high as 50 miles per hour. Driving conditions are going to be very difficult, and it's also very possible we see a couple more telephone poles or trees go down before the end of the day. But things will start to clear up overnight, a low of 44 heading into Tuesday. Should be mostly sunny for the next couple of days. Highs in the mid to high 50s. Lows overnight tomorrow around 39. It'll get a little warmer and mild out Wednesday night before what should be a warmer second half of the week. That'll do it for this weather report. Don't forget, we're back at 4:45 this afternoon. The FCX semifinals in boys soccer. Danbury and Trumbull up first. Greenwich and Norwalk have the nightcap. Kate, back to you.
All right, busy night. We're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but we'll see you tomorrow at 11. Have a great day.